What's up? What's up out there in the world? It's Eric Grant coming to you guys, talk about some things here, and wanted to kind of like raise the question to you guys. First of all, we're coming up on Christmas, and a lot of people focuses on family and stuff like that. I mainly been discussing and talking to you guys about economics because I feel like that's the root of the problem in the Black community. Economics is connected to everything. Everything that we do is based on money. And I asked myself the question recently, have you guys ever thought about why is there a task force for hip hop? They have a hip hop task force. Think about that for a moment. I remember back in the 1980s when they had the war on drugs, and it kind of ended up being basically a war on young African American men, because the majority of the sting operations were performed in Black communities, as though Black people were the only ones that was doing drugs or selling drugs. Drugs is an epidemic throughout America. It has no race attached to it. But for some odd reason, that Black incarceration accelerated 100 times. And although we were only 13% of this population, we ended up becoming over 40–50% of the population of jail. And at the end of the war on drugs and the drug task force, there ended up being 1 out of every 4 Black men were either in jail, on parole, or some type of supervised release to probation. So it wasn't executed properly. It wasn't executed equally, to say. So now we have this hip hop task force. And I find that to be very interesting. And I said to myself, hip hop, what is hip hop? You might as well just say Black task force. Who is hip hop? It's not white people. I mean, although they are supporters of hip hop, there's a few white rappers out there, and some of them quite talented. I've actually ran into a couple of them quite talented. There's a guy on YouTube now called himself AK or something. He's pretty tight. But I'm saying predominantly, hip hop was founded, originated, created by Black people, and dominated by Black people. It's our art. So when you have a hip hop task force, I thought that was quite interesting, because you're saying that there's a Black task force for those who have found their way from the ghetto, found their way from pain and suffering, and learned how to create a rhythm to that thing and attract people and become millionaires. But at one time, these individuals were, in the hood. They basically are hood people. They're people who, had talent, and they were very, attracted to music, and they loved music, and they may come from musical backgrounds. Their father may have been a doo-wop singer or whatever. And these individuals, these Black people from the hood who rap, most of them are poets. Most of them have a message. And most of them come from, very challenging backgrounds. So that challenge and that pain and suffering that they grew up from, they've learned to channel that through the music. And they become very successful. And I just thought it was very interesting that they have this hip hop task force. Because to me, that tells me that when a Black young lady or a Black male or Latino male or Latino female who comes up from the struggle and learns how to rhythmically address that pain in a way where it's attractive to people and actually become successful, you're a national security. That's deep. Think about that. That is very deep. And that lets me to believe that there's a war going on, a silent war. And it's not just racial, it's economic. It's mainly economic with the undertones of racial, because there's an economic war going on around the world. Just watch what's happening right now with China and Russia and Iran. And we've been beating the drum beats of war with Iran for 20 years now. And now there's been said that over 15,000 troops are headed that way. and the government here is not claiming it, but there's been convoys and there's been traffic moving that way. And if you guys watch this movie called, I think it was called W, about W. Bush, they talk about how they wanted to invade Syria and Iran and Iraq. All the areas that they said they wanted to invade in the 90s, they've invaded them. Afghanistan, this is real war going on, economic war. But the most personalized war that I've seen is the war against my people, economically, to keep us down. Now, I was recently watching this guy on YouTube, and my programmer turned me on to the guy. His name is Omni the Hellcat. And if you guys haven't heard of Omni the Hellcat, this young man it's brilliant. He's a brilliant young man because he figured out a way to make 50 or more $1 million. He's figured out how to make that on what you guys have, like the fire sticks and stuff like that. He's one of the main providers for that stuff. He's very technologically savvy. I would think he's got some techiness to him. And he's a brilliant black man because he's amassed a lot of wealth. He had over 50 cars, and he was doing these extravagant videos and showing you guys, how he made his money. And he would go and take you guys to buy a rape. He would show you guys when he went to go buy his Rolls. He had 3 Lamborghinis, and he was just doing too much. Not that he was doing too much, because this is supposed to be the home of the free. He should be able to do whatever the hell he wanted to. But that's not the case, because there is a silent war going on. And here's a black man showing you with no real education how to make $50 million and live this extravagant lifestyle. So they had to criminalize him. And what was the crime? Well, they said he didn't pay his taxes on time, but he had 3 years to actually pay his taxes. And I think 2 years went by and they went in and ramshacked him. And this is what the government does. They're like raiders. They're like pirates. And they went in there, taking gold chains, taking his jewelry, seizing the cars, and seizing everything that they can get their hands on, like pirates. Okay? Didn't take the man to jail. Now, if he did so much wrong, why is he not in jail? How come it was just about coming in and taking his stuff? So again, you guys, we're in a war. We're in a war, and this war is not verbalized, but it's definitely practiced and demonstrated on the highest levels of government against black people, and also against other people in this country who are not aware and conscious of how money works. So the Family Cash Machine, we're on a mission to teach people really how money works, because you haven't been taught how money works. I know I haven't. And I traded commodities, mainly currencies. Wow. And I didn't really know how money works. Not as far as governmental administration. How is money administered through governments? How is government responsible for the value of money? How is it that all the governments are connected to central banks, which are private entities? They're not a part of the country. These are the things that we teach you guys, not just to know and say, oh, I know how the central bank works. No, we teach you guys this stuff so you can learn how to maneuver and position yourselves to accumulate wealth. Let me give you an example. There was a time when the housing market was booming, and I was a huge real estate investor. I made a lot of money in real estate, and at a certain point, the real estate market crashed, and I knew about shorts. I was just so distracted with my ex-marriage. I was in domestic turmoil, so I couldn't focus. And that's why it's so important to have a good mate, somebody who supports you and someone who's in your corner, and somebody who could basically console you when you need consolement. Now, there are people who bet the short against the mortgage. They made a ton of money. As the market was crashing and people were losing millions, there were a bunch of people who made millions and billions, all because of how they positioned themselves. And so this is the kind of stuff we teach in the Family Cash Machine. The economy is crashing in America. The economy is crashing in Italy. The economy is crashing in Germany. The economy is crashing in Britain. The economies around the world are crashing, and they can't do anything to stop it. The only thing they can do is buy more time by printing more money. We don't know how much more time they have. We're at the end of the road pretty much right now. And I want to reach out to my people, black people. As all these walls are caving in now, they don't have time to watch you. They're trying to continue to watch you. But as the governments have watched black people for so long, other ethnicities creeped in America and took over, like the Asians. They're so busy watching us, Asians came in here and bought up America. And why are they busy watching you? Why are you a national threat to security when you make millions of dollars and you come from grassroots? Interesting. I'm going to tell you why. One of the reasons why. One of the reasons why you're such a threat is because black people make up the huge majority of the consumer class. So if you make a huge majority of the consumer class, that means you're in a position to know what sells, what people will buy, what will work and what won't work, what the people will go for and what they won't go for. Now, you can have all the money in the world. It doesn't make any difference. If you're not connected to the people and know what actually consumers and people will buy, then you're not in a position to even say what inventions will actually work because you don't know what the demand is. Black people are directly connected to demand. Wow. So you're in a unique position. So this is why 50 Cent made so much money on mineral water, because being from the consumer class of people, he knew, wow, this is a great product. This is a great time to do this. And he put his money where his mouth was. He got involved in that mineral water and made a sugar, honey, iced tea bunch of money. Right thing at the right time because he was in the right group of people. He was in from the consumer class of people, from the grassroots of people, not connected to the billionaires and the millionaires of the world. He came up from the grassroots. So he knew what demand was and what was something that would sell. So this is why you're in such a unique position. You're in a very unique position because if you get to a point where you have wealth, now you can finance all the other smaller people from the grassroots who may have ideas. You don't have to go to the banks. You don't have to go to Wall Street. You don't have to let major investors exploit you and take advantage of you before your invention even comes out. You can go directly to your people. Wow. So you are a national threat. You're a threat. And you can act like it's, oh, this is America, I'm so free, and I can do, you can act all you want and make believe and fantasize, but the reality of it is there's a war against you, an economic, a political, and a spiritual war. And we're going to talk about all of this more into depth, but again, Omni the Hellcat was targeted. And he put a big bullseye on his own self. Because he kind of like, it's like, you're waving a steak in front of the lion. The lion's hungry. He wants to eat. And this is what we have to understand. We have to understand the game. Money is a game. Money is a game, and there's rules to this game. And it's a game that we can't not afford anymore to lose. We've been losing this game. Black people, we've been losing this game. Now, a lot of black people look at the fact that, well, we got more millionaires today than we've ever had in America. That's true, we do. But guess what? The statistics also show that we have less black businesses than ever in America since we have more black businesses than Jim Crow and segregation. So to me, as an entrepreneur and a businessman who understands collective economics, I know that's not a good thing because 2/3 of jobs are provided by small businesses. So if we're losing businesses because the Koreans came in, the Asians came in, the Middle Eastern people came in, they all came in and took over black businesses. And we gave them those businesses because we wanted the Cadillac, we wanted the Benz, we wanted the Beamer. We wanted the immediate accolades of symbols of success or symbols of wealth, but not really learn how to accumulate wealth. So we sold out in the 70s. 80s, a lot of black businesses sold out. And the foreigners came in, and they don't respect you guys because you don't control your own economics. Now, recently I was watching a video on China, and the one lady, middle-class lady, was saying that when she grew up, there was literally one pair of clothes, and those clothes went down to her brother and her other brother and her, like they basically wore hand-me-downs. And she said, now in China, we shop twice a week. We can buy things now, and it wasn't like that when I grew up. And she's right. China used to be a very poor country. I mean, they were riding bicycles, you know, before they had cars, you know, and like we had cars before they did. Remember Ford and all of that stuff? We made the cars, Pontiac. So China, they were late in their development, okay? So now, because of all the manufacturing is in China, the lady said that we make apples here. You know, she said Microsoft is here. All these major technological companies are there. Cisco, and they make a lot of the products, but we don't buy those products. We buy Chinese products. I said, wow. Here's a lady with no economic training, with no financial degree, but she understood the basics of finance and money. And we've gotten away from that in the black community, and that's why we have such a problem. But I just started this conversation off with the idea of why is it that there is a hip hop, think about that, a hip hop task force. So you're telling me, what does a task force do? Surveillance. What does a task force do? Sting operations. What does a task force do? Seek and destroy and extract. Once they finish their investigation, they come in and they take everything. So who are these artists really working for? Because when it's all said and done and the task force comes in and do their sting operation, they're extracting wealth. They're extracting all the things you accumulated that you worked for years. Like they did the drug dealers. Who was the drug dealer really working for? If he hustled for 5 years and accumulated millions of dollars for the task force to come in and to take everything, who was he really working for? He's selling death and destruction to his people. He's accumulating somewhat of wealth. And at the end of it all, it gets taken all by the government. Who is he working for? So this is the kind of things that I wanted to bring attention to. We have some product. We have a huge network that we've created where people can actually make money on information. And we want to teach you guys the game of money. And there is a game here. Because if Omni the Hellcat would have had all those 50 cars not paid for, it would have been hard for them to come and take it because he don't own it. Just make the payments. But a lot of times we want to buy stuff, and that's fine. If you want to buy it, put it in a trust fund. If you want to buy it, put it in a corporation. What if his name is not on the corporation? But he controls everything. He's a silent executive that controls all the stuff in the corporation, but he's not physically present. But he has control. How would they take that stuff? This is the kind of stuff we're teaching. This is the art of the game of money. And it's also the art of war. Because money and business for black people in America is war. And you got to understand that. And if you're not understanding that, you're going to get caught up. And you're going to end up working for someone else. And this is why we cannot accumulate wealth. We're talking about generational wealth in the family cash machine. And we also are creating a system where people can come in and make real money. Real money. And we're going to teach you guys what to do with that money and how to protect that money. This is going to be a great, great, exciting journey with the family cash machine and the fam cash coin. And I want to talk about something for a brief minute. We've actually created a platform where people could take classes and learn the kind of stuff that I'm teaching, learn the kind of stuff that I was taught, that I'm constantly a student of. I'm not a teacher, I'm a student. And the best way to learn, the best way to learn is to teach. So when you're teaching people, you're forced to go learn. In case there's questions, it forces you to up your game. So I've been a student for at least 20 years now of money, just learning money, teaching money, doing credit, accumulating credit, buying real estate, selling real estate. I've done all of that. I've lost real estate, you know, throughout the 2008, I call it the global economic meltdown. I've been a part of all of that. So I made money in the streets. I made a lot of money in the streets. So there's several ways that I've made money and lost money and made money and lost money. But I realize now that it's a game. It's a game with rules and the way the game has to be played. And you have to know the rules in order to win in that game, because they have so many traps for us. Like I said, with Omni the Hellcat, I was watching that whole story, and you know, it's a shame how they just came in and took everything. He's not in jail. And most of the pirating laws were created in the 1930s, and streaming wasn't even available then. So there's really no law against what he did. But what is his crime? Is his crime being a black man making $50 million, scratching two nickels together and figuring out the loophole of the system? Or is his crime pirating? And if he did pirate, why did you not lock him up, but you came and take all the stuff that he accumulated? Interesting. Why did you come in like a thief in the night to take? Why did you come in like pirates to take, rob, and loot? But you didn't come in like law authorities and say, hey man, you broke this law, you're going to jail. They came in like pirates, taking watches off of his arm, and one or two of the officers were fighting him over the watch he had. Like pirates. Just think about that. So again, I feel so bad for what happened to the brother, because he didn't set up the right protection. And it's okay, because we don't understand the game. We don't understand the rules of the game. Stop owning everything. You know, if you guys just watch Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you watch Robert Kiyosaki, he always talks about poor people own everything and control nothing. But rich people own nothing and control everything. The highest level of business is to own nothing and control everything. Those cars shouldn't have been in his name. Even if he had them paid off, he could have had them in trust funds, he could have had them in corporations. And sometimes debt is the best way to protect yourself. Why pay off your house? They can't come and confiscate the house if it ain't paid for. So debt can actually protect you. This is the kind of stuff we teach. But again, remember, we're creating a system where you guys are going to make a lot of money with us. But we didn't want to create a system where people just come in and make a lot of money and all on the internet showing what they're making. We wanted to teach people, black people, how to protect their money, because that's the only way we're going to accumulate generational wealth. We have to accumulate assets over years and stop every generation starting all over again from nothing, or stop letting the IRS come in and do us like they did the Brat, or how they did Red Fox, you know, or Sammy Davis Jr., who was running with the Rat Pack. And I believe that Sammy was very instrumental in teaching Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra how to dance. Sammy's been dancing since he was 2 years old. I'm pretty sure he taught them how to tap dance, because tap dance started with black people. White people didn't start tap dancing. He taught them how to tap dance and sing and do the whole thing. But nobody taught Sammy about money. That's interesting. Jerry Lewis had a bunch of money. Jerry Lewis, what's the other guy's name? It was Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and it was another guy. I forget his name. But it was the Rat Pack. I forget his name. But they all had real money. Sammy made money, but Sammy was the one that taught them a lot of their techniques with the microphone, how to move, how to sing gracefully. But nobody looked out for Sammy when it came to the money. Nobody protected him. Nobody taught him or gave him real financial advisors and taught him how to protect his wealth. See, Sammy was just out there buying diamonds, but nobody taught him. The same people he taught didn't teach him. See that? So this is what we're about in the Family Cash Machine. We're going to teach our people, black people, not just how to make money, but how to protect it back. Because money is a game. And it's a game that you can't afford to lose. So with that, I want you guys to like this video, subscribe to my channel. We're going to keep the heat coming to you guys. We're going to stare right in the face of our enemies and talk about this with our people, not only about the condition we're in, but how we're going to get out of it. How are we going to rise to the top? And how are we going to leave something for our children? That's what this is about. Okay? We're not going to stay in a permanent underclass. Them days are over because all these countries are clashing and falling, and they can't stop it. And if we position ourselves right, we can capitalize off of this huge redistribution of wealth that's going to happen. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. This is Eric Brent, the Family Cash Machine, and the Fam Cash Coin is here. I need you guys to click underneath here. First, like this channel, subscribe to this channel, hit that bell so whenever I come out with a video, you'll get it. Make sure I get your email in case they take my channel down because they don't like me teaching you guys this stuff. How did I get this knowledge? I met over 4 billionaires in my life. 4 billionaires, not millionaires, billionaires. And I had time with each one of them to talk. One day I'll tell you who they are. I had time with these people to accumulate information. And so I saw how they were structured and set up. Wow. And as a real estate appraiser, appraising commercial and residential, I ran into several millionaires who had amassed properties. I mean, like 300 unit properties. I mean, they had like 200 or 300 of those. Well, they were like averaging like 70, 80,000 profit a month on each property. Real estate gurus. And I watched and I saw how they were structured. And I was able to pick up a lot of game. So now it's time for me to give it to my people. How they're really doing, how wealth is really being accumulated. And so, like this channel, subscribe, hit the bell so you'll get notifications. Make sure I get your email in case they try to take my channel down, because YouTube just made an announcement as of the 10th of December. All those who they don't really like content or whatever are not commercially viable, whatever that means, they're going to take them down. So basically what they're doing is censoring. You know, YouTube is owned by Google. And the owner of Google, Eric Schmidt, who the former owner, who now, I guess, got out of the ownership position, works for the Pentagon. So he's a CIA guy. So they're definitely all in cahoots to suppress information. So I need you guys to give me your emails because I'm going to give you some heavy information, economic information that you can use. Not the stuff they gave you in school that you can't use. I'm going to give you information that you guys can actually use to position yourself and make a bunch of money in this kind of economy. And that's what we're doing. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign out. This is Eric Brent, the Family Cash Machine. You guys need to take the free Phoenix course. And then you guys need to look at what we're offering after you take that free Phoenix course and decide if it's worth for you to pay $150 or $350. Because again, the classes that we have, you won't get this knowledge in college. You won't get this information anywhere in any school because they don't want you to know this stuff. So with that, you guys, I'm going to sign out. This is Eric Brent. Peace. Trying to get out of here.